Hello, good afternoon. Hello. It's Linda Jordan with LRJ Coaching and Business Solutions. Today is Wednesday. Yes, it's 3 p.m., not noon. I decided to change my time slots to 3 p.m. instead of noon on Wednesdays, and that's to give other people, more people, an opportunity to tune in with me. Since more people are working COVID, and in the afternoons, you have more of an opportunity to relax and soak up more knowledge as opposed to during lunchtime where you're probably in a rush trying to, cram in your food and all that good stuff and then get some errands done. So, if you are joining me today, please put in the comments where you're listening from. I'd love to know who's on the call today. And if you are watching this on replay, just put in the comments hashtag replay. So I'd love to know who is listening later on. So we'll give it a few more minutes for people to come in and get started. Today, we're going to talk about time management, something very near and dear to my heart. So we all struggle with time. So that's what we're going to talk about today, making sure that you manage your time effectively. So that's going to be the topic for today. So again, if you are just joining, grab you something to drink. I've got my handy water here. If you need to take some notes, get a pen and paper so that you can take a few notes as I'll be sharing a couple of slides with you today. So I'm doing something different, starting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time, and I've got a few slides. So doing a couple of things different in 2021. So hopefully I'll be able to give you more information, share more with you as we go on this journey of 2021 and learning how to get our businesses going, learning how to maximize the time that we have. And that's what's most important to us because we all know that time is money. So I'll go ahead and get started today on the topic of time management. So hopefully everyone can see my slides as I go through them. So I have to do a little bit toggling here and there to make sure that you can see what's going on. And let's see if this is working. It's my first time doing this. If I had two laptops, it'd be great. And that does show up. You may not can see it as clearly. Let's see. So hopefully you can see it okay. So the first slide I'll review talks about time management, creating a task list. Yes, it is so important that you create a task list. You get up in the morning and you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing today? So you need to have a list of what your to-do items are for that day, but you want to make sure that you are focusing on high-value activities, and that's what the critical piece is around time management. Oftentimes we create a list, we're working on things, and it may not be high value, but it's something that may be important to us. But we need to make sure that we're focusing on high value activities. So number one, create a task list. I have a notebook where I put everything in. Some people may put things on stickies, and I do that as well. So I have a sticky pad because sometimes I have to do that. But whatever it is going to work for you, create a list so you know exactly what you need to be doing for that day. Me, I'm a calendar girl. So I have a to-do list and then I have everything on calendar. And I had printed it somewhere. But anyway, oftentimes I carry my calendar with me, particularly if I'm going to be going out, which is not that much these days. But at least I know where it is. But most importantly, I put everything in my handy dandy cell phone. And so if you're like me, you have your cell phone and you put everything on the calendar. So that's another way to create your task list of what you need to be doing for the day. Third, most importantly, when it comes to time management is, let's all just be honest, stop procrastinating. We all do it. We procrastinate. We say we're going to do something. Oh, I forgot. Or you have it on your calendar and you overbooked yourself. Or you say, well, I'll just do that tomorrow. So stop procrastinating. Get things done. Put it on your list. Be true to yourself. If you don't get it done, no one else is going to do it for you. So stop procrastinating. So again, the number one is create a task list if that's what works for you. Making sure that you stop procrastinating. All right. And then the third one is focus on the high value activities. Focus on the high value activities. Now, the fourth out of the fifth in managing your time, this is a hard one. It's a hard one for me, and I know it's a hard one for everyone because we are all on social media. But we need to minimize our time on social media. Why is that? Think about it. So we've got our cell phones with us all the time. And, if you're like me and you're, in between meetings and you check a message, oh my goodness, you go, then your next thing you do, you're going to go to Facebook, like all of us. We go to Facebook and then we check our updates. And then as we start reading, it's like, oh my goodness. And then you've got Instagram and now there's Clubhouse. By the time you check all of that, you have lost an hour of time. And that's an hour of time where you could have done something maybe a little bit more productive if that wasn't on your schedule to do. That's an hour of time you could have had some sales calls. That's an hour of time that you could have done some personal development. An hour of time that maybe you could have worked out. It's the first of the year. We always have a goal of we want to lose weight, or we want to be healthier, we want to eat healthier, we want to be thinner, whatever it is. But if we've wasted, or let's say spent, an extra hour on social media when we should have been doing something else, then that's time we can't get back. So minimize your Instagram, your Facebook, your Clubhouse, all your social media. Minimize that time so that you can focus more on higher value activities. Now, I'm guilty of that myself, so I just want to reiterate, we all need to focus on what's most important. And the fifth area around time management is, and this has been something that we all say we do, we're really good at it, but there is no such thing as multitasking. No such thing. When I worked in corporate America, I'd always be, I could be talking to my staff and typing an email and, paying attention to them. But there's no such thing as multitasking. Or I could be on the cell phone and typing an email. There's no such thing as multitasking. Or I could be in a conference call and sending an email to someone. There's no such thing as multitasking. What multitasking does is it takes your attention away from the important task you need to focus on, and you're splitting your time with another task that may not need as much attention. So why it may take a minute to return a phone call to someone, you may take that extra minute and really think about the message that you're going to deliver. So you're leaving a message that has an action in it. You're leaving a message that is very genuine. If you're doing an email and you're trying to multitask because you're on a Zoom call, that's not a good way to spend your time, because there's no such thing as multitasking. When you're sending emails, you want to make sure that you are focused on that email. You want to make sure you're sending an email that is sending the right message, not using exclamation points, or you send off the email really quickly and then you realize, oops, I should have said that. Then you've got to recall it. If you have Outlook, if you have Gmail, I haven't found a way to recall a message. So that's why it's so important to take the time and not multitask. Focus on that one thing you need to do, then go to the next one. Because again, there's no such thing as multitasking. We say it all the time. Yes, I can multitask. You cannot. What you're doing is you're splitting your time between one task and another and not giving either one of those items your undivided attention. So I know when I was in corporate, I would do that. Like I said, I would try to split my time, and it just wasn't effective, because at the end of the day, I found myself going back to that person to restate what I had said, or to go back to an email and to see what I posted or sent. Or if I was working on a project and I'm trying to multitask, work on my project, let's say it's an Excel spreadsheet, eat lunch and check email, I'm going to miss something. You're going to miss something if you're trying to multitask. So for we as small business owners, we have control of our time. We need to make sure that we're managing our time effectively. We need to make sure that we're creating a task list for the things that we need to do every day. We need to make sure that we are focusing on high value items. As a business owner, our job is to make money. We have sales calls to make. You have a business to run, or you may need to work on your expenses. You don't want to be working on your expenses or your accounting and you're focusing on something else. Now, if you're listening to music and doing that, that's different. But right now, there's so much going on that we're trying to absorb as much as we can. The other day, Sunday actually, which is typically a day that I take off, a day of rest, I didn't realize I had spent an hour and a half listening to Clubhouse. Now, trust me, I learned so much by listening to all the great leaders out there, the multimillionaires out there. I mean, I was in a Clubhouse meeting one day with Grant Cardone. And then I was listening to one with, oh gosh, I forgot the person's name. Some other great speakers. And so, Les Brown, that's what I was trying to say, which is pretty cool. But, after about an hour and a half, I thought, oh my goodness, I need to get prepared for dinner because it's Sunday. And, I like to prepare my dinner early. But I was on Clubhouse listening for an hour and a half. Now, I've learned so much. But the importance is you've got to figure out the time, set time aside so that you're listening to, your social media, you're checking social media, or you're responding to social media when it's appropriate. Don't spend all day doing it because the cell phone can get you in trouble. And next time you realize, oh my gosh, I've lost 30 minutes, or you missed something, didn't do an errand because you weren't focused on what you needed to be. So yes, social media is great, but again, when it comes to time management, we need to create a task list. We need to focus on the high value items. We need to stop procrastinating. If you're going to do something, go ahead and do it. I'm guilty of that as well. Minimize your social media time. And then there's no such thing as multitasking, even though we think we can do it. So moving on to what I love the most, it's called time blocking. Time blocking. This has worked for me for years. I absolutely love it. Hi, Sevelin. How are you? Thanks for joining. Time blocking is so critical. So if you can see the screen, I've got different colors. So that's my schedule for today. As the day goes on, it kind of grays out. But I color code and I time block every single thing. And it's kind of crazy. People may say, why are you doing that? Well, I do that because it keeps me on task. It keeps me honest. That way I don't forget anything. So if you can see my cell phone, that's how my time blocking looks on my cell phone. But I know what everything is. And so that's what's really important for me. And you can see it even better on the screen for my cell phone as opposed to the slide that I'm showing. But I've got everything color coded. So I have things that are important based upon not so important, or there's something that I do every single week. I have that a certain color. Interviews that I have for a certain, Facebook Live, or I'm also in school. So if I have interviews scheduled, working on my dissertation, I have that color coded. So even the coaching calls I have them color coded. So as you'll see on the screen, and you'll see blue, you'll see different shades of blue, you'll see purple, reds and greens. Those are all color coded based upon categories that I have. So whatever is important to you, color code your categories so you can just look at it as like, oh my gosh, I missed so-and-so, because you know what those colors stand for, and you know that it's something that's going to happen every week. Now, if it's something that's, just for this week or this particular day, decide what color that's going to work best for you. But I love time blocking. I love color coding. It works absolutely fabulous. So that's my schedule for today of what my colors are. So if you look here this is my schedule on Friday. So some of the colors changed because on Friday I've got different things going on that I didn't have going on today. So on Friday afternoons, one thing that I started doing in 2021 is late in the afternoons from 3 to 5, and you'll see that's the green color. That's personal development, that's training, that's reading, that's time for me. I put that on my schedule so that I can hold myself accountable to make sure that I focus on time, personal time development. Now, another color you can use for, not color, but another activity is, which I don't have on Fridays, but I have on other days, is working out. We all say we want to work out, but what's on our calendar? Because if it's not on your calendar, you probably won't get it done. So the saying is, if you write something down or you schedule it, you're more likely to get it done, as opposed to thinking, oh, I need to get this done tomorrow. I put everything on the schedule. I mean, I even have on, I don't have it listed here, but for tomorrow, I've got to do an errand that just came into my email. So I've got to go to the bank to get something notarized. So I put that on my calendar. It's color coded because it's a new activity, something that I don't do all the time, but it will pop up, and that's my notification. So time blocking is so critical. Going into 2021, we want to make sure that we maximize the time that we have. We want to make sure that we get so much done. We want to get our goals and objectives accomplished. If you've got goals and objectives set for Q1, if you don't have time blocked to get those things done, it's likely that you may not achieve them. If you don't have your goals and objectives written down, it's likely that you might not achieve them. But put them on your calendar to review them. Put them on your task list to review them so that you can work on them whatever day of the week you want to work on them, or if it's just a reminder to check your goals. So time blocking is so important. So if there are any questions about time management, time blocking, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear if there are any questions about that. That's what I do. That's what works for me. It may or may not work for everyone, but it's a start. It's something that you can consider doing so that you can be much more efficient in 2021. You can get so many more things done and accomplish all of your goals and dreams that you want to do in 2021. So again, this is Linda Jordan with LRJ Coaching and Business Solutions. I have 5 spots this week. Yeah, it is Wednesday, hard to believe. But I do have 5 spots for a Jumpstart call with me, a Jumpstart strategy call. So if you're interested in learning more about what I do, I help individuals go from corporate to being their own boss and becoming financially independent. So I have 5 spots available. Go to www.talkwithcoachlinda.com. Set up time with me so that we can talk about, what's your plan? What's your strategy? Where are you at in your career? Are you ready to transition now? Are you ready to think about transitioning in 3 to 6 months? Or is it a year or 2 from now? Time to start planning. Put it on your calendar. Let's see, someone says, how long does it take to fill in your calendar on a cell phone? It's hard to do it. It's harder to do it on the cell phone. I typically do it on my desktop, but you can, color code as well on your cell phone. It's just that it's a little bit smaller, so I kind of have to turn it horizontally, and then I can schedule it. But what I do at the beginning of every year, I make sure I have my standard meeting set up. My standard color codes are already in there. So when I need to add something to the calendar, so let's say, for example, tomorrow my day starts at 9, but if I needed to add something to my calendar on the cell phone, I would just go to the calendar and then press the add button. If you have an iPhone, I just press the add button at the bottom, add event. And then when it gets to at the bottom, I don't know if you have an iPhone or not, but probably can't see it. Now you can see it. There's a little pink dot where it says default color. I just changed that color to whatever one that I've assigned to my new task. And so then, that'll highlight. So, you just decide what's going to work best for you and then change colors. So hopefully that answers your question, Evelyn, regarding how long does it take to fill in your calendar on the cell phone. It takes a little bit longer because you're working with a smaller device, but it can be done. It's very doable. But I typically like the desktop because I can go pretty fast and type faster than on the cell phone. but it does work. So great question. Thanks for asking that. So again, thank you all for joining me today on the topic of time management and time blocking. Less block times so that we can be productive, less block time so that we can be efficient, but most importantly, less block time so we can be on time for what we have scheduled. We don't want to be late. If it's blocked, you will always be on time. So again, if you want to learn more, go to www.talkwithcoachlinda.com. Look forward to hearing from all of you. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 3 p.m., my new schedule time, no longer at noon, but Wednesdays at 3. So if there are topics that you'd like me to cover, please put that in the comments. I'd love to know that as well. So thanks again for joining, and we'll chat again next Wednesday. Bye-bye.